Now that I've started recording, welcome to Tanisha's Coffee Break. Today we're talking about TravelJoy, and I am going to share my screen and go through setting up a basic invoice, creating a client, and adding that person to a group so that you can kind of get a feel of what is there. So if you, good afternoon, everybody else who just joined us. Oh, Katrina, thanks for letting me know that you can't talk back to me. It's okay. So that being said, here we go. Share. All right. Does everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, great. And just have to get the chat up. Where's my chat box? Oh, apparently it doesn't want to let me look at the chat box. So, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Is there somebody that can watch the chat box for me and let me know if any questions come up?
I'll watch it for you.
Yeah. All right, so this is the dashboard when you first sign in to TravelJoy. This is what it looks like. So this will just tell you what all you have going on. It will let you know if you have tasks that need to be taken care of. It'll have little reminders up here so you can click on them. But what I want to do is we're going to start a trip. So here, once you click start a trip, you can change your photo. So like here, you can go in and change your photo. So I had a cruise going before. So if it was a cruise, you can always use a picture of the cruise ship. And then for your primary traveler, if it's somebody that you already have in your bank, you can come down here and select them. And if it's not, you just click on select new. Really easy. It's very user friendly. So I'm going to send myself on a trip. I hit a caps lock. Add. Oh, and then name of the trip. I can name it anything I want. This was actually a group cruise that I had put together, and I called it Launch Out of Norfolk. My personal travel agency is Launch World Travel, so I try to keep it congruent with that. So, and this one was specifically going out of Norfolk. So, and then you can put in the trip starting date. So we'll just say it's starting on October 1st. We'll pretend it's a 5-day cruise. Destination is going to be Caribbean. There are 2 travelers. You can put in the budget there. It really is just a note for you to have. And then you can put in their confirmation number there. So maybe it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you tell it to create the trip. So and it does all of its magic. And you can see where it has put this photo up here. That photo is going to be at the top of all of my communications with the client. So they're going to see that photo. So every time they open my email, they're going to see that photo. It's going to remind them, excite them about their trip. And they'll know specifically what the email is about. Now I can send my client a message if I just want to send them an email. I can say, hey, so excited to help you plan. Da, 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 da. And then I can send it. So, and it tells me it's successfully sent. Now, maybe I want to send them a form I need to get some information from my client and I want to use an email template that I have. So it gives me a couple of options. Maybe I want to send them an email as they first leave. And you can say, I hope you have a safe and wonderful trip. And then it's got my signature underneath. And you can see it's got the client's name right here, and it's going to change to whatever you put your client's name in there. So I can also, let's see. Sometimes I will be perfectly honest, sometimes I have to play around to figure out where I need to get to. So maybe I want to send them a client inquiry form. I need to get all of their information for their trip. So I'm going to send them a client inquiry form, send the form to Tammy Hess, and it'll say preview. So I can see what that looks like. These are questions for your trip. Where would you like to go? And this form is already made in there. This one is actually, this is probably how to, I believe that this one is how they automatically have it set up. So questions, where would you like to go? When do you want to go? When do you want to come home? Are your dates flexible? What is your departure city? How many travelers are going to be going? What's the budget? What best describes your hotel preference? What kind of vibe are you looking for? This kind of lets you know how to plan the trip for them, what activities they might be interested in, because keep in mind, you always want to get your client the best experience, so don't forget to add on excursion options for them. And is there anything you absolutely must do or see, and what else would you like me to know? You can go in and edit these forms so that they are specific to you or specific to a particular trip. Maybe you want to have one that is just a client inquiry for cruises, or a client Disney, a Disney inquiry form, because let's face it, Disney is a whole nother beast and they have a lot of different questions that are required for Disney. So next, it allows you to review it, and you're going to see, hey, needed from you a few extra details. Thanks for reaching out to me. I'd love to know more about what your needs could be and if it's a good fit. Could you fill me in on these details? And then it's going to send the form. See, it's and say send, and it lets you know that it's successfully sent. But as you can see, I'm building a profile here. I'm building a contact, what kind of contact I've had with the client, and I can come back and check that. So me and my client have discussed it. I know the trip that they want. Now I want to send them an invoice. So I'm going to go in and create an invoice. This is a supplier invoice, meaning it's not something, that they're purchasing from me. It's something they're getting from one of my suppliers. So you just go up here and you add an item, select invoice item template to add. So maybe it's an activity, like an excursion or their air. You can see I have added, this is one that I personally added, Alliance Classic Plan Vacation Insurance. A car, cruise, this was for the deposit out of Norfolk, hotel. This is the insurance, the default insurance package. So sometimes, for instance, when I did my Jamaica trip, I just put it under a package. And then it lets me know, like, what do you want to name it? And this is what the person is going to see. If it's got an I over here, it lets you know that the client is going to see it on the invoice. And if it's got the cross through it, the client isn't going to see this information. So package, this could be Jamaica trip. My people went to the Iberostar. So then I might come down here and say that they're staying in a grand suite at the Rose Hall Suites Iberostar. It's gonna allow me quantity, unit cost, so I'm gonna put the cost for it in there. So maybe it's $3,000. for the hotel, the start. I can put the start date. So, you know, maybe this is August 1, 2020, and they're coming home on August 8th, 2020. Save that. And then if I want to add another item, I can come up here and just click add item. So maybe I need to add their air, and you can see it gives you all the information when you're adding that air. You're going to put in the air, so it could be maybe they're going on, had Delta going there. So, and I could say flight from MCO to Montego Bay, Jamaica. There's 2 of them going. So if I wanted to price it individually, I could put quantity 2 there, and I could put each individual airline ticket here. If I don't, I could just say times 2 here and put the total amount for the airline tickets here. So I could do it either way. Prime example, if I'm going to be adding on, say they needed to add on 1 bag, and I only needed to add that to 1 person, I would probably put flight times 2 plus 1 checked bag. Because that's something extra they're paying for, and then I would put the total cost here. Does that make sense to everybody? So the flight for the 2 of them is going to be $1,100. I'm going to put the confirmation number in here, AB123, their flight number, which is 831, their depart day and time, arrive day and time, or time, arrive, the dates, the class, the stops, and I can even put their seat numbers in here. So I'm just gonna slide over all that, save it, and then you can see what I put in here. I can come back over here and edit it. If I wanted to copy it, I can copy it right there, or I can throw it in the trash. I can name this invoice. The client name is Tammy Hess. And then these are terms and conditions. This is the default. And then again, you can always go in and make your own terms and conditions. You can edit them, and you can add comments. And if you say you want to add comments, like by signing below, I authorize Launch World Travel to charge the credit card. That's the default. And then maybe I wanted to add something else. Maybe I wanted to let them know that no price or prices are subject to change until deposit is made. And then you can come down here and add their payments. So if you just wanted to give them 1 payment, you can just click add payment, and then you're done. But maybe you wanted to add multiple payments. You can do a deposit and final, you can do a monthly, or you can do a fixed. I usually do a monthly. Let's see, we'll do 3 months. I can tell it the ending date, whatever that, so it's gonna set up the first one for today, unless I change those dates. And then we'll say that it needs to be paid by July 1st. Oh, that's the monthly due date. Sorry, I read that wrong. So this lets me put whatever due date I want on the account. So today's the 12th. Let's say I want them to make their first payment on the 15th. I can make payments custom, or I can just make them equal. So it'll create a schedule for me within my parameters. So, and then I can go in here and edit. This amount will not let you move forward unless this amount here totals this amount here. This is the amount here, and this is the amount from your payment schedule. So it's kind of dummy proof, which I really appreciate. I personally, I'm kind of a math nerd, but if you're not, that's really good for you. Or if you're having a really long day or going back and forth between prices all day on one client. So you can change any of this information. I can change it to here. Say I didn't like the due dates it gave me. I want the next payment to be here, and then the last payment's fine there. So say I wanted to make those changes. I can change the description to be whatever I wanted. So like if I wanted to call this a deposit, and then I can come over here and change this amount. Maybe I want them to pay $2,000 for the deposit. Now, see how it says total $2,000 and it's got this in red? It's not gonna let me move forward until I make this balance. So 2,100 would be my balance. So that's 1050 and 1050. So now you can see they equal each other again, so it's gonna allow me to go forward. So I can preview it, and this is what it will look like for my client. It's got the dates up here, their confirmation number. I know I totally started cruise up here and then showed you guys how to do a package and flight down here, but just so you can get the idea. And then this is what the client sees. Enter the amount you would like to authorize. So they know that the amount due right now is $2,000. That's the deposit. They can pay up to the total, which is $4,100, or they can choose another amount that they would like to put down now. Please add a card to authorize. So they'll be able to click this and put in all of their information. It is secure. And this does satisfy our credit card authorization requirements with IntelliTravel. So sign and agree to the terms and conditions by signing below. This is the little blurb that the comments that I added in. So they're gonna click here to sign. They can see what their schedule is here. But when they see this, they're gonna get a notice letting them know if they have questions, they can respond to this and ask questions as well. So save and review email. So it's going to say, I put together your invoice. Once you click the link below, you can review the invoice, ask a question, or authorize payment. So, and it's going to tell me, just like Planet Marketing, it's going to tell me when they view the invoice, which I really like because I know what they're doing. Like if I've just sent it to them as a quote, then I know whether or not they've seen it, you know, what I need to follow up with them and say. So far, does anybody have any questions? No, we're all following good?
Yeah, I do have a question.
Do you have to input insurance prices into the system, or is it automatic?
You have to put the insurance prices in. Tanya, so when I do my insurance quotes, I do them through Allianz, and that is a separate quote. So I'm gonna have to add that on the line item as the insurance. Or when I do a package, sometimes I'll just say, this is the total price for the hotel, and I'll list everything out, but I won't individually price them. So sometimes I'll just say, this is the price for the hotel for the days you've reserved with the room that you wanted, you know, whatever the room and days are. Your flight from MCO to Jamaica, your trip insurance, and your, like if they had transfers or something. And I'll put all of that on the one line, and then I'll give them the total price for that. Because sometimes people, you know, when you start separating things out, they're like, oh, well, let's take that off and let's take that off. And, you know, they start nitpicking out things. Does that make sense? Answer your question?
That was Miss B's question. Did that answer your question, Miss B?
Miss B, I think you froze. So, Kat, while we're waiting for Miss B to let me know, what was your question?
I was just wondering on the invoice, can you like change the fonts and stuff?
So, yes, you can. If you see right up here, I'm not sure about the invoice. Let's say cancel. So here I am on this. I don't think I can change it on the invoice, but I can in the email.
Okay.
That might be something to play around with in the back once you get it going.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Miss B?
Yep. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Did that answer your question?
It did. So, so you get the pricing from Allianz, and then Allianz, I can't pronounce it right. And then you input that data into this system. Now, my question to you is, when they make their deposit, does this system, do they have to make separate deposits for each?
No, so what happens is when they make the deposit, they're actually just authorizing you to charge their card. So you're going to get their credit card information, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. So you're going to get their credit card information, and you can then charge it to where you need to. So I always make sure that in my deposit amount, I'm going to include whatever the deposit was for the package, plus the insurance is going to be included in whatever their deposit amount is.
Okay.
Does that answer?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Anything that I need to pay, like at the beginning, I'm going to include as their deposit amount.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Absolutely. So say next, and so we're gonna save and review email, and I'm gonna send this now. I'm ready to send it, so away it goes. See, on Cat, it does allow you to change it in the email here.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
I don't think
You have a question from Shelley. You have a question from Shelley.
Hey, Shelley.
Hey, just was wondering, so does the client have to reach out to you each month for you to run their payment, or can they just make the payment through a link?
So they are just every month, they are going to get a reminder email saying, hey, your payment's due in whatever time. You can make adjustments to that for when they get their reminder email. So you may send a reminder out to them that day, or you may send a reminder out to them like 5 days in advance. A reminder your payment is due, but it's going to allow them to select the day that they want. I'm pretty sure it allows them to select the day that they want it to be run on. So they're going to get a reminder to make the payment, and then you'll get the email back authorizing you to make the payment. So it reminds you as well, because they've got an automatic reminder, and then you will get a notice to run the payment.
Okay, so all right, so we run the payment. It's not something that they can just automatically go in and do.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
So that one I'm sending, it told me over there it sent it, and then you can see here it keeps a log. You can also add notes to your calendar if you want. If you come over to your calendar, this is specifically for this client. I'm sorry, I work dual screen, so I'm pointing to my screen over there. And it lets you know on May 15th, they have a payment due. On June 3rd, they have another payment due. So I may have a task in here that I want to follow up with them about excursions maybe. So I can enter a new task, and I can call it excursions, add it, and then I can go up here and edit it. I can set a date, and it will add it to that calendar. So maybe on the 29th, I want to send them information about their excursions. So it's going to send a reminder to me 0 days before the task is due at 8 a.m. So that morning at 8 a.m., I'm going to get a reminder to follow up with the client about excursions. And then email or action, I want to send them an email. I can select, if I already have a form email that I've created, I can select to automatically just send that email. So save it, and then over here on my tasks, you can see where all the stuff that I've just done has come up on my task board. This is when the payment is due, this is the initial payment, this is when I need to follow up with excursions. So these things, it'll let me know and give me reminders, as well as it's sending notifications to my client. So now let's say this trip, let's go back to my dashboard. Okay, so this is an individual trip right now. So launch out of Norfolk. You can see, like I said, this was an actual trip. So launch out of Norfolk, I want to go to this trip, and they have some friends that have decided they wanted to go with them. So I can come over here. Let's see. Waiting on client. Edit trip. I want to make it a group. So we're going to, we're going to say, I don't want to throw it in my other group, so I'm gonna call it launch group, but it won't let me do that. So apparently I needed to go, look, create new. Like I said, I kind of play around with it a lot. So, and I think nope, it won't require an email. Cool. Once you start adding too many people though, so let's say John Doe, not Doe, Doe. Add, look, you've added more than 2 travelers. Do you want to create a group instead? Why, yes, yes, I do. So it's letting me know, you may want to do a group for this, and it tells me learn more about groups here. So it'll take you straight to the groups. So if I know that I want this not to go to Pinterest, if I know that I want this to turn into a group, then I can say create group, and I'm going to call this launch group. We picked August 1st to August 8th, create group. And now I can go back to my dashboard, and I should be able to put those people in that group. So I'm going to go to this individual trip. I'm going to edit it. I want it to go to launch group. Save. The other great thing is when I'm sending out an email, I can select to send it out to just one person in a room or all the people in a room, because as I create a group, so just really quickly, I'm going to send one to Aiden. I'm going to add him on this group. And it lets me know, hey, he doesn't have an email address. You won't be able to send messages or create files. I know he doesn't have an email address because he's 2. And maybe I want to also add, let's see. Let's add Riley as a primary traveler. Hey, again, he doesn't have one either. Now I can select here and I can see all the different people that are going on this trip and I can click on them. I can go back and say, okay, in Riley's room, I need to add a traveler. So I can add a traveler and Sheila is going to be in the room with him. So I've got Sheila there. Add, save. So do y'all see how that's going though? And then once you send, you can choose to send a message to the whole group and it will actually ask you before it sends each email whether or not you want to send that email to that person or cancel it for that one person. Or you can send out individual notes to the people. Like right now this is looking at what's been sent to all of the travelers, or I can just look at what's gone out to Tammy Hess. So does anybody have any questions at this point?
I don't have a question, but I did wanted to ask, Serena, please. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Is this similar to TravelJoy?
I have not used TravelJoy, so I can't speak on that. Has anybody else used TravelJoy?
Ma'am, I'm so sorry, my baby.
That's okay, your baby's beautiful. Let's see her.
Thanks.
She's wallering.
Yeah.
I have not used TravelJoy, so I was just asking, has anybody else that is on today used TravelJoy? Because I can't speak as to whether it is similar or not. So I don't think anybody else has used that either, so I honestly don't know. Tanisha let me know about TravelJoy a while ago, so I just got on here and started using TravelJoy and away I went. So
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, I was going to ask, do you have to pay for this? Because I know TravelJoy, you have to pay. You get, I think, like 2 weeks or maybe a week free, and then you have to pay like $40 a month.
Well, I will tell you, you do have to pay for this. However, normally it is $30 per month. But if you send Tanisha an ask for it, send her your email address, she can send you a link to join her team, and then it's only $10 a month. So that makes it really affordable. You're on mute, Desire.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. It's because of the baby. I don't want it to. Is it Tanisha? Can you put her info in the chat?
Tanisha at TanishaBurke.com.
Oh, that's you, duh.
Well, it's not me. So Tanisha is our 3-star director, but I am hosting for her today.
Okay.
I didn't think I had seen you before, Desire. So it's okay. No. Here, let me show you. I'll show you Tanisha.
Yes, ma'am.
There, that's Tanisha. Do you see my picture? My picture that just came up where it says Tanisha Burke?
No, I don't see it. Hold on.
Face?
Stand by. No, I didn't see it.
Oh, okay. Here, hold on a second. Hush.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you see my face now?
I see your face, yes.
This is Tanisha Burke.
Okay.
She changed a little overnight.
Okay, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Let me take a picture of the name.
Right, or if you just send her I don't know if you send her a message on Facebook or not, because sometimes she gets inundated with Facebook messages.
Okay.
She said her email address was Tanisha Burke at...
It's Tanisha at TanishaBurke.com.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you.
So does anybody else have any questions? I had a question, Tammy. I know when we met last week, you mentioned about the authorization form. I was a little late getting on today, in terms of, you know, how like in teletravel, we have to have people sign those 3 forms.
Mhm.
And you were saying that TravelJoy has something that's comparable to that?
So when they get their invoice and they authorize payment, did you see that part where I was, well, yeah, you saw that part where I was showing the invoice that they get. This credit card authorization part that is on the invoice, they have to sign it. It's an electronic signature, and this satisfies IntelliTravel's credit card authorization form.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Just want to make sure.
Hey, Tammy, this is Beloy, Miss B. Can you put the waiver in TravelJoy also when they decide they don't want the insurance?
So you can send that as an attachment.
Okay.
Usually I just add it as a comment right here. If they've told me that they're refusing insurance,
Okay.
then I will make an additional statement right here and state that I understand by declining travel insurance, I risk the loss of my investment.
Okay.
So I actually add a blurb in there instead of sending the additional form, but they're signing that as well. So, and it kind of, it reminds them while they're authorizing, you know, making this payment of $2,000, hey, I may be throwing $2,000 down the drain because I didn't get travel insurance.
Right.
Because I didn't want to spend $150 to protect my $4,000. But to each their own.
So, are you able to incorporate Uplift? So, for instance, say you wanted to use Uplift for them to make their payments through instead of having to have us authorize their card payment. Can we just like maybe put in the credit card authorization section or somewhere in here where we can note that this client is using Uplift?
So I haven't used Uplift with it yet. What I would think is because you are not actually, they're not actually collecting a payment when they get this. All they're doing is authorizing you to make the payment.
Right.
So with Uplift, I think that the client goes ahead and they get an email from Uplift. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. So they get to their basically financing their trip, and they set up a payment schedule for them. So we're totally out of the loop. Their responsibility is to make their monthly payments through Uplift.
Right.
But I'm thinking if I even use this, if I did have a client that used Uplift, is there maybe a section that I can notate that this particular client is using Uplift for their payment instead of?
So you could absolutely, let's go back. You could absolutely notate that on their information. So what I would do is I would not send them the invoice, or I would put it on the invoice like where it had that amount.
Yeah.
Instead of calling it a deposit or a final payment or payment number 2, I would make payment through Uplift. So then they get the reminder from you as well as Uplift to make their payment through Uplift.
Yeah.
But it also sends you a task so that you can go in there and make sure that the payment's been made, because I think that you have that ability on Uplift as well, correct?
I think I can. I think Uplift will send us something, a notification that the customer did make their next payment.
So it reminds you to stay in the loop and stay on top of your client, because people.
Yeah, it's Uplift is kind of nice only because once they have that set up, you're kind of out of the loop and it doesn't mess with your commission.
Right. So another thing about Allianz, I don't know if you guys know, I use Allianz with the majority of my clients. Allianz pays you a commission, if you're doing the travel protection through like a cruise line or through a supplier, a lot of times you're only making like a $10 commission or, you know, very small, minimal commission. Allianz is like a 26 to 28% commission on whatever the insurance is, but it also protects you because if they have to use their insurance to get their money back, they protect your commission as well. So that's just my little plug on Allianz today.
So do you like contact Allianz when you have put together the cruise, like through cruise, you'll put it together, then you'll contact Allianz and ask them what is the commission rate for that?
Right. So
I mean, what is the, you know?
Once I do that, then I'm going to click on, I'm going to go to Allianz and I'll show you real fast. You know, you just click in here, you do a really fast quote, you plug in their dates, where they're going, what supplier you're using, and their date of birth and when the deposit is, where they live. This is all you have to enter. And then you tell it to get quote and it's going to give you the quote amount. And then you go back and include that in your vacation price. So they're really user friendly. They're very, my clients that had to cancel due to Corona, they are actually refunding their insurance amounts as well because they're not using their insurance. They're, you know, it's being refunded due to Corona. So that didn't protect my commission, but you know, it's a whole new beast. But in the event that they had an event that, you know, like they had to be hospitalized or a loved one had to be hospitalized, then, and they had to collect on their insurance that way, then my commission would have been protected. I don't want to hold anybody up if anybody has to go. I understand. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. Does anybody have a question at this point? Anything else that you're dying to see? I will try to hit real fast because I know that I'm already 15 minutes over 12:30.
This was great. I appreciate you coming on showing this to us, Tammy.
Thanks. You're welcome, boy. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen.
Oh, I have a question.
All right.
Additional forms that, you know, you said you created, which forms that you created additionally do you think that would be beneficial to have? So there's like, you know, your basic forms, but you said, oh, I created this or I added this, you can play around with it. What additional forms did you create? Would you feel are?
So you can still see my screen here, right? Tanisha, so I had, like I said, I had a group that was going to Jamaica. My client contacted me. She said, well, I might have some family that wants to go with me. I was like, okay, great. I said, I just need some basic information from them, and then I'll reach out to them and collect their information, get them pricing, blah, blah, blah. I didn't want her to have to be the go-between for all of us. So I created specifically a client inquiry form. I took our regular inquiry form and I adjusted it. So this is what that looks like. Patricia's birthday bash client inquiry. I can open this up and this will show you what the form is. So create my profile was the button text, you know, prefix if they had one, first name, middle name, last name, suffix, preferred nickname, primary email address, primary phone number, best time to reach you, because that was important because I was going to be calling all of these people off the fly and they didn't really know who I was. I needed their address so that I could quote any insurance and figure out what airport was closest to them, if they had a passport or not. And I wanted to go ahead and collect their passport because they were all going to Jamaica. All their passport information, their gender information, if they had seat preferences on the airline. I learned that I should have also included airline preferences because I had people that were like, oh, I only want to fly on this. Bed preferences, any dietary restrictions. And I left this in here because they were actually going to one large resort that had 3 separate hotels within it. The Iberostar has 3 price ranges at the location. So I left that in there. I probably didn't need to leave this in there, but I just did. Activity preferences, how many in your party. But you can go and edit any of this and then save it under a new name that you want. So if you have, like I said, if you have specifically people that are going on Disney, Disney has so much that it entails. So you can create a form that's specifically for any of your clients looking to go to Disney. You can create a form specifically for cruise clients. You know.
About my dirty clothes bag.
What's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking to my daughter. I thought I was mute.
You can create, you know, you can adjust that form to be whatever you need it to be. So does that answer your question, Takesha? Okay. Again, you can also go in here and you can create this is for the invoice. These are different things that you might invoice. So I told you I created my Allianz Classic Plan insurance. So I actually copied and pasted this from Allianz's website. So it was their wording. Congratulations, you have chosen to protect your investment. Please initial below that you have read and agreed to the coverages of your policy, purchase terms and disclosures, and there is a link in, I put a link in there for that on their invoice. Like I copy and paste the link for their state because they're different for Allianz. And then Allianz has promised to let them know that they have 10 days to look over their insurance. And if they aren't happy, they have a 10-day look period to send it back.
So one more quick question. So I see on the side, a couple of those say default. Are those ones that are already kind of created? You just put it into your file, and like Allianz, it doesn't say default because you created it. So correct. Air, car, cruise, all of those are default ones that are already in there for us to just create and just kind of throw into our profile.
Exactly. And then the other thing is, say I like what the train said, but I needed to adjust it, but I didn't want to lose the default. So I would just come over here and click copy it. It's going to copy all of that information, and then I'm going to rename it. And that's how I made those, was I click copy, I made a copy of it, and then I renamed it to whatever I wanted it to be. I made any adjustments that I wanted for it, and then I click save. And it's that easy. It's really, really user-friendly. They do have some tutorials down here that are videos, like YouTube videos, that are really great to watch when you're first getting started. But I often tell people, you can't hurt it. Throw your email address in there so you can see what it looks like on the client side and play with it. You know, that's the best way to learn. So, any other questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys. Well, if there are no more questions, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up.
Thanks so much for the training, Tammy. It was really great.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I actually really love training. So some of my sideline partners can tell you, I will just get on and be like, hey, I'm going to do this for my team. You want to come watch? So it's one of the things that I love to do. I'll poke and play with stuff, and I'll tell you if I don't know, like the travel 5 question. I don't know, I never touched it. But a lot of my stuff that I've learned and picked up just by going and hunting and pecking, or if I don't know, then I ask, and I Google a lot. I Google a YouTube is always your friend. If you can't find it on their tutorial, you can also find other travel agents who have put together tutorials on like TravelJoy or a multitude of other things. So always use free resources like YouTube. Tanisha's got a great YouTube channel too. If you haven't looked at it, then always go search her on YouTube, Tanisha Burke, and she's got some great tutorials up there. So,
does this have a like 7-day like free trial or a trial period that you can check it out, or do you have to immediately stop paying?
Yes, Shelly, great question. It absolutely does have a 7-day free trial, and then it starts billing you. And again, it's $10. So I mean, $10 to check it out for a month. I definitely would say, if you're thinking about it, if you do book travel, it's definitely worth it because it keeps everything in one place. I can pop open my TravelJoy and see what tasks I need to get accomplished today. You know, so that's like on one of my DMOs. When I started booking travel, I included TravelJoy in my DMO. And if you don't know what a DMO is, it's a daily method of operation, the things that you do on a daily basis for your business.
Yeah, this looks really good. So that's why I was asking. I've tried a few things on 7-day or 14-day trial to kind of see whether or not it's gonna fit into what I'm trying to do. So
Absolutely.
it's nice that this has it too. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I think you said you were using Excel. That would just be too much for me.
Excel?
Something that's kind of dummy proof and will send me messages.
Yeah, this looks good.
So, all right, guys. Well, y'all have a wonderful Tuesday. We'll be back with Tanisha tomorrow. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to invite all of your business partners, sideline, downline, upline, to Tanisha's coffee break. It's going on during the quarantine period at noon, Monday through Friday. We always have a blast and get some great information. But thanks so much.
Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Awesome.
Have a good day. Bye, everyone.
Y'all have a great day.
You too.
Yeah, thanks.
Go to school so children could learn about healthy foods like tomatoes, cucumbers,